and identify, because I think if we can really transition to business in alignment, we will not just hold ourselves accountable to our goals, but actually not kill ourselves and enjoy the entire process and have more success sooner. That's the goal. The whole reason why we cling to hustle, and we cling to the energy, and we cling to the grind, is because we want to yield result, and it works, but it's not the only way. And I think even more powerfully is that so many people are in a hustle mentality and aren't yielding that result. And then they're telling themselves, if I'm not reaching my goals when I'm all out, like I'm like so entirely in this thing, how the heck can I reach my goals when I'm in alignment? Because that frankly sounds very non-committal. That sounds very like wooey, right? So here's the thing, the harms of hustle. I think a lot of people are hustling out there and are very poor, like financially poor. You're hustling and you're promoting yourself on Instagram, and you're at all the right places, and you're using all the right hashtags, and you're wearing all the things, and you're being seemingly successful on the outside, but you aren't actually reaching any business. Like you don't actually have a business, or don't have a sustainable business, and are not really truly successful, but on the outside you are. I think that on your personal life, there's this bottom priority. So because we want to be running fast and running ferociously, we're willing to compromise times with our families, times with our friends, and even more importantly, time for ourselves, because we're putting all of our value, time, and energy into being really good hustlers, showing up really ferociously for our businesses. So it's okay if we skip out on the gym. It's okay if we don't feed our bodies. It's okay if we chug caffeine. Because we're doing it in the name of hustle, in the name of ambition, right? And so it almost fulfills us in a really empty way, and allows us not intentionally to neglect these other like parts of our lives, but it fools us into thinking that it's necessary to do that. It's necessary to have angst and overwhelm, and we're kind of comfortable feeling anxious because again, we're hustling. We're doing this thing that everybody is needing to do in order to be successful. So we're making it okay to have burnout. We're making it okay to kind of bend our integrity and bend our morals and bend our values a little bit, because this is what's normal and this is what's expected of us. And we're seeing all these people be successful by doing these things and going all out. So of course, I want to do that too. Of course, I want to work just as hard and go at it just as audaciously. And if I have to bend myself or break myself a little bit in the process, it's okay. It's all in the name of success, or all in the name of hustle, and we're all doing it. The danger too is that we're all running our own businesses. So we're all hustling very differently, but we're all promoting kind of the same, we're all promoting the same badge of honor. And we don't really know, like, well, what your hustle could look very different from my hustle. I'm up at 2 a.m. I'm up until 2 a.m. putting together content, and you're just like maybe taking 3 hours of selfies because that's what is increasing your Instagram engagement. Not that your Instagram engagement is paying you, but still, like, that's hustle to you. So you're promoting being a hustler. And to me, I see those images on social media. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, that's what I need to be doing. When in reality, your business isn't successful, but it's telling me that I need to do certain things. Like we're the same somehow. Our hustle is the same. So it's all very confusing because nobody really knows what hustle actually means for someone else or for yourself. You just know that you are in a race to do it. You want to ride on that same energy and same success level, and it seems necessary for us to do it. Now, in our business, I feel like it creates this very reactive stance. When you're in this energy of hustle, you're very much reacting. You're scrolling on social media and you're seeing what someone else has launched. And wow, that seems so legit. That looks amazing. I need to do that for my business. Okay, so now all of a sudden I'm reacting to what I see on social media, to what I need to be doing. So you're abandoning what you may have had planned in the past, and you're doing this thing because that looks like it's really working for that person. And I want to look like I want to be successful too. So all of a sudden I'm in this direction. You're comparing yourself because, again, we have no idea what someone else's hustle looks like. We just see what it looks like on social media, or maybe in person or at events, or people are talking about it. But we're comparing ourselves. And we're in this place where, okay, we're all photographers, for instance. Every single person's photography business is very different because every photographer is different. So your values, the things that the way that you want to run your business is not the same, but yet we compare ourselves easily because we have this constant stage where we can see each other's, well, the exterior of the business. So we're constantly comparing to see what are they doing, where are they, without really understanding, is that thing working for them? Is that even meeting their goals? Is that hitting their bottom line? Are they actually like finding fulfillment and happiness? Are their kids like, are they enjoying raising their families as they're taking, as it's all very much easy to draw assumptions because we have so much access to one another. And it's so tempting to compare ourselves when you're in this hustle mode, when you're in like, hey, I just need to work super hard and I need to take the shortest route to getting there because I want this success now. Because I'm afraid if it's taking too long, it means I'm not cut out for it, or I'm not smart enough to do it. So I have to make it happen now because it's happening fast for everybody else around me. And if it's not happening fast, that means there's something wrong with me. So when you're in this mentality, this hustle mode, you're comparing yourself, you're reacting, you're picking up tactics for your business and you're dropping them at the sign of someone else's influence. So you're also making decisions based out of fear that you're not good enough and you're not doing enough. So it's easy to abandon, like, okay, I'm going to focus on this month. Like, I'm going to focus on this strategy. Well, when you're in a place of comparison and fear, you're not going to commit to that plan. You're going to react to the other thing that may look like it might be a shortcut to getting you over the finish line faster. There's no commitment in seeing your thing through because you are in this grind to make it happen, regardless of what is happening around you, really regardless of what is happening in your family, regardless of how you feel, regardless of it's sustainable. Everyone is, it's very important to continue moving forward and committing to this energy of angst and drive and meeting expectations and running fast. So if you find yourself that you're in this place of reactiveness, you're starting new, you're picking up tactics like, okay, I'm going to do email campaigns, and you pick up that email campaign because everyone on social media is bombarding you with how social media is going to go away. It's going to die. The world is going to end tomorrow. What are you going to do with your business if you don't have an email list? What are you even thinking? So all of a sudden you're like, okay, I got to build my email list. You're reacting instead of stopping to say, is an email list smart for my business? Do I have capacity with all of the things that are happening in my business right now? Do I have capacity to learn and to implement email campaign? Is that even in alignment with me? Or am I making a decision out of fear because I fear that I'm not building a strong enough business and everyone else seems to have the answers? I can't trust myself, so I have to listen to what everybody else seems to be doing and adapt that. Where are you making your decisions? What is influencing your business decisions? Are you in a place of insecurity and fear and distractedness? That's hustle. I also think that being in a hustle mode compromises your growth because you're in this constant state of surviving. You're not thinking, do you know what everyone loves a new year? One, because we have this like beautiful time from Christmas to New Year where like nobody gives a damn. It's like dead, right? Like who knows if you answer your phones, like you can post on social media, maybe not, but it's this like beautiful time where you don't have to, you kind of like can piece out of the rat race of it all. You can kind of focus in on your family and eat leftovers and wear your sweatpants for like an inappropriate amount of time. Like it's cool. It's that week. It's that beautiful week where you don't really have to do real life. And then a new year is this fresh opportunity and blank slate to where we feel like we even have spaciousness to take something new on. But we did it, where we feel that way because we had that amazing week of total like lazy life, like the beautiful not having to show up for, like, maybe corporations are open. Monique, you probably have to be at the hospital. I'm really sorry if that's the case because healthcare is totally different. But the world just seems to like stand a little bit still, and we have rest. So because we have that rest, we feel like we can even, okay, I have room, I have space to all of a sudden think of what can I do moving forward. Everybody feels this lightheartedness or even like lightness about them when it comes to the new year. We want to take on something new. Well, when you're in a constant state of grind and reaction and fear, you're not thinking like, what more can I take on? You're like, holy, like, how do I handle what I have? How do I survive through this? Because I'm going from my business to my kids to my business to my husband to me, all within the span of an hour. And you're constantly feeling like you're reacting to just what's immediately in front of you. And you're trying to make every single expectation of you, like, show up for every single expectation that is put on you. So you're not thinking of, gosh, how do I grow? How do I position myself for more? You're thinking, how can I handle what I have? Because what I have is kicking my ass. So any more is going to tip me over. I think it's so important to be positioned for growth, because if you're not moving forward, you're not growing by any means, but you're also not finding fulfillment. You're not changing. You're not allowing yourself to shut off the old and take on new. You're in a constant state of staleness or pressure. So it's important to be positioned for growth, but it's certainly not possible when you're in a hustle mentality, in a hustle mode. You're in a grind and you're in a constant state of static because you're trying to maintain what is happening. So can anyone relate to this even description or environment of hustle? Is this on point to how you would describe hustle, or is this different from how you would define being in a hustle mode or in a hustle mentality? If I'm off, please let me know. Does anyone disagree? No?
No, not at all. I totally agree. I think it is really nerve-wracking when you see maybe the mental list of things that you're not doing because it's not in alignment, or you don't have capacity, which is kind of a current song I'm singing at the moment, and feeling like you're behind in some way if you're not just getting after every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it does help to stay focused on the things that you are doing well or are within your capacity, or areas that you do have opportunity to grow. Because if we get so sparse and thin doing everything, but doing it very marginally, our excellence goes down so much that it's not appealing to be a part of what we're doing, because it's just, an inch deep, but a mile wide.
Yeah. So you brought up a really interesting and pivotal point, Monique. You said that we have all of these things that we have to do, but they're not necessarily in alignment. Or I feel like, go back to what you said. I don't want to put words in your mouth. When you have all of these responsibilities.
Oh, great call. But maybe not the skills or capacity to do it. Because I think if you're not a great writer, having an email campaign that no one wants to read is not helpful. Yes. Or doing a video series, if you're not good on video, maybe that's a skill to build and do it. But we kind of have to pick and choose the things that are authentic and are areas of strength, so we're just not struggling through the stuff.
Yes.
Just for the sake of stuff.
Yes, I love that, because here's the thing. Hustle will tempt us to deviate from our gifts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it kind of entices us to abandon what we feel we're actually really good at, because we think that we should be doing these things, and although that is not in my wheelhouse, that is not to say that your business you cannot hire that out. But we put this pressure to do these things ourselves and abandon what we actually love to do. The things that we're good at, the things that are fulfilling for us, are probably the easiest for us to do, right? But we disregard them. And because we want to strive and succeed, we then take on reacting to all of these tactics and suggestions on what other people are doing, and then you take them on. But you take them on and you're like, I don't actually have any clue on how to do this. So then you expense all of this energy and all of this time in doing something and try to achieve something that's not even within your wheelhouse or even within your natural gifting, right? So to me, there's this abandonment of our core gifts. This is a secret sauce. Alignment is it's super simple. It's taking what you're good at, taking the gifts that you naturally have. Every single person has gifts, I guarantee you, like many, not just one. Taking your gifts and putting them in position with what you love to do. That's it. Do not overcomplicate it, and do not be enticed to compromise your gifts because someone else is using their gifts in a different way to achieve success, and you want success, so you want to take on their giftings. Stay in your giftings. Use your giftings to the max capacity, and align them with what you love to do, what your business is, what your purpose is, for optimal success for you. The more you abandon the things that you are naturally really good at, the more you fall into the hustle mode, right? Because it's like grind, it's reacting, it's like grit. I gotta force myself to do this. The beauty of it is when you're in alignment, there's a flow of energy that happens. I love to listen to women. I can listen to women talk about themselves and their businesses and their fears and their ambitions literally for hours. That is not draining to me. Like I love problem solving. I love thinking up solutions. I love asking questions and thinking of different perspectives. I genuinely love to do it. And I love to push women. Like, have you thought about this? And I love supporting them and talking about like how scary it really is, but then helping them feel like they're confident enough to do it. I can do that all day long, not just to women, to men too. I just genuinely love that interaction. I love like problem solving all day long. If you put me in a position where I am marketing, where I am writing emails and God forbid figuring out what SEO is and like ClickFunnels, I can force myself, because I think that I'm like a smart chick that can, everything is figure outable. I will put myself in a position where I can figure it out and do it. Is that my gifting? Is like digital marketing and analytics and computer technology, like, is that my gifting? Hell to the no. And in my business, I can easily fluctuate into a hustle mentality where I feel like I have to figure these out or else I will not be successful. I will not be able to growth coach if I do not figure out my marketing. Is that true? That's not true. I can literally go out there and connect like belly to belly, or I can email, I can send out snail mail. Like, hey, I would really love to work with you. If I stay in my gifting, if I trust that my gifts are aligned with my purpose, with the thing that I love to do, if I'm at peace with who I am and what I have to offer the world, it will yield success. I will find ways that not only feel good, but are good and beneficial for my business. But if I react out of fear, like I have to, this is not going to work. You cannot, this was going to take way too long. It's going to take you 10 years to build a successful coaching business, sister. What are you thinking? You have to go to ClickFunnels. You have to force yourself to figure this thing out, or else you will not have. If I make decisions based on what is working for somebody else, or what my fear is telling me, what my impatience is telling me, what other people are influencing me to do, I will hustle. And I will not create a successful business, not as successful. And this is where I feel like God is so good. And I believe that our gifts come from him and our purpose comes from him, that when we try to do it ourselves, we're all about that hustle. And when we recognize and are confident in the value, the gifts that we have, we're then saying, I trust that I'm in alignment with you, with your plan. And where I lack, you're going to give me the wisdom to do what I need to do, to hire who I need to hire, to reach the audience that I need to reach. But I have this confidence in my gifting, and I have this peace that the lane that I'm in is going to yield result. I'm not reacting out of fear. I'm valuing also rest and saying, hey, I'm not going to work for 18 hours because I'm so afraid if I don't work, I'm not going to be able to yield result. I'm going to rest and say, I trust that the work that I've put in is rooted out of my giftedness. Like, I'm bringing the very thing that is so good about me to the table. And I have stewarded my business well by honoring my gifts, by honoring my purpose, the thing that I love to do. And I trust that this work is good and it's going to be blessed. Now, here's the thing. Our ego is going to come in and be like, you got to make sure. You got to make sure that you are booking those clients. You got to make sure that you are yielding the result, that you are hitting it harder and faster. Because we want to guarantee that we create the result that we set out to do. And I think that when we sit back and we allow ourselves to rest, and we allow ourselves to have trust that we have showed up with our very best and stewarded our businesses well, when you rest, you then can even show up for your business, for your family, for yourself, even more to a higher level. And it then feeds back into your business. It feeds back into your family. But there's a certain amount of confidence, rooted confidence. It can't be in your ego and it can't be in your fear. That has to be present for you to recognize, like, girl, my giftings are being used. I've showed up for my business with integrity. I'm confident that what I have is going to be multiplied. It's going to land in the right person's, it's going to connect with that right client. It's going to yield the result that I have on my heart. There's trust there. There's trust, confidence, and enjoyment. Like, God forbid we enjoy our businesses and are not burning ourselves out in the process and compromising ourselves to yield the result that we feel we have to achieve. So when you're in this thing called alignment, think of it as a straight line. You have your gifts and you have the thing that you love to do, your purpose. And there is clear like pathway to these things, and you are using them every single day. Your gifts are fueling your purpose. Anytime you try to do something that is out of your gifting or even in contract to your gifting, you are then in a hustle mode, you are out of alignment, and you're compromising yourself. You will still it will still come into your business. Like, let's say you're doing something that is not in your gifting, but by gosh, you're going to get it done. You're going to do it. It'll still feed into your business, but it's not going to be in a clear way, nor will it energetically come back to you. When you're in alignment, the energy that you put out from your gifts into your business, into your purpose, into the thing that you love to do, that energy comes back. Does that make sense? It's like, it feels so right and so good and so joyful to use your gifts that it doesn't drain you and deplete you and make you insecure and scared. It in fact makes you confident. It makes you energized. It makes you feel like you're contributing. You're not thinking in all the ways that you suck. You're seeing the value that you provide. Has anyone experienced this? Have you guys experienced using your gifts and feeling like you're on top of the world? No?
I have.
Hi, Hannah. I didn't see that you were on.
Hi. Yeah, I got on late. I had to get my nails done. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, it's pretty spectacular when you do step into those gifts, and it's easier. And I know you talked about earlier this year about being a hot mess, and I
Mhm.
feel like hustling and a hot mess go hand in hand.
Mm.
And I've been there so much, and I find myself going there sometimes. But the funny thing is, I think, you may have talked about this earlier about how kind of the world kind of glorifies this hustle mentality. It's like, yeah, I'm hustling. But I love the perspective that you bring with it, is that we shouldn't be hustling if we're truly in our gifts and we're in alignment. And it's been amazing when this year, as I've stepped into my gifts and what I'm finally finding that I'm really good at, and where I excel, it's easier. You feel on top of the world, you feel empowered, but it's not this I don't know, it's hard to describe, but I can relate, because I'm there right now
Mhm.
and trying to do more of that. I'm like, okay, God, I love how I feel when I finish with a client or I finish with an event and I've impacted so many people. It's like, how can I do this? How can you, not me, multiply this and be effective, but also make money for my family? But because I'm like, God did not give me these gifts to impact people, but also to impact my family financially. So it's like, show me more of how I can step more into this, because I've been in a place where I've worked so hard, and I'm so unhappy because I feel like I'm performing and I know that what I'm doing is truly not my gift, and I'm not happy with my results, and nor is necessarily my client. And I've been there so much, and I hate that feeling. I never want to go back. And
Mm.
that's where I'm like, I know what that feels like. So God, show me more of how I can be better at it and be excellent at the gifts that you've given me. And it's kind of like an addictive feeling to be there and really want to be more of that.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. So I want to touch on maybe the question that maybe you guys have. If you are using your gifts, is it like rainbows and butterflies and unicorns all the time? Like, are you popping champagne and just like loving your life because by golly, you're in alignment and using your gifts? Is it like that all the time? And the answer is no. That doesn't mean when you're in alignment and you're using your gifts, just because you're not hustling doesn't mean that you're not stewarding your business well. Doesn't mean that you're not showing up and you have focus, but you're doing it from a place of trust and confidence and patience. I think that's probably the biggest distinguishing factor, the biggest thing that you can feel when you are patient in your business and not in a frenzy. You're still working really hard to make sure that your business has all of the proper attention or all the proper things that it needs. But you're not pivoting every single second, and you're also not fearful that if you say no to a client that you should not be working with, or if you stick to your boundaries that help you to stay in alignment, your business is going to fail. When you honor the parameters of your alignment, you avoid that hustle frenzy, that hustle mode, the hustle mentality. And I think that's the biggest shift, is that you're not making decisions out of your fear, and you're not making decisions out of your insecurity. You're making decisions based in confidence and faith that what you're doing is damn good. It feels good and you're doing it well, and it shouldn't compromise you. So I just want to clarify that it doesn't mean that you're not being stretched or working hard, but you're consistently making decisions in alignment in all of your business, not just when you decide to use your gifts. Every time you take on a client, you say, is this client in alignment with me? Or am I so fearful that I'm not going to get another client that I'm going to bend myself backwards to try to get this client? Right? So then all of a sudden we're hustling for that client. We're hustling to meet their expectations. When instead we should have trusted I'm not going to serve, my gifts are not going to serve this person the best. I'm going to say no. And I'm going to trust that another client is going to come along. I'm going to attract another client that is going to appreciate the way that I run my business. It's going to appreciate the gifts that I use in my business. There's a big difference. And down the road, a series of compromised decisions will lead you into a frenzy of hustle. A series of aligned, faith, patient, trusting, confident decisions will keep you in alignment. And it's not to say that once you're over here, you're like, you know, dead in the desert. That's not the case. You can find your way back, but it's hard to find your way back, and it's hard to make decisions that are not based in fear when you've spent the last 3 weeks being generated by fear, being ruled by insecurity and comparison. How hard is it for us to get out of that? Like, Heather was just talking on her post the other day. She's spent the last couple of weeks just comparing herself. Social media is hard. We see so much of what we don't even understand, and we draw our own conclusions, and we're always going to not measure up because we're so hard on ourselves. We're always going to, in our minds, position ourselves as not doing as well as everybody else. Right? So it's hard. Don't let yourself make decisions out of fear day after day. Catch it and ask yourself, how do I make an aligned decision here? How do I make the decision based out of faith and not fear? How do I honor my gifts and use them right now? How do I rest? Can I rest here? Oh my gosh, what happens if I rest? Like, God forbid, everything's going to fall apart. My house is going to burn down and my children are going to be starving on the corner. Right? Spiral. Bring yourself to truth. Make decisions based out of truth, out of faith, out of confidence. Okay? There's a flow in your business, and there's a priority in your personal life. When you allow yourself to have a business of alignment, there's a flow. Business will continue to come in. Also, because you're not constantly pivoting and trying new things and confusing your target clients and your markets about what the heck you're doing. It is better to have one offer that is clear and consistent than having multiple offers and not really even letting people know what you do well. Do one thing well before you do 5 things half-assed, right? So let yourself trust that there is flow, and it might not seem like it's going to yield immediate result because hustle kind of feels good in its painful grind and suffering. It kind of does also feel good, like we're doing something, we're a part of something bigger, we're a part of this like entrepreneur culture. But in reality, it could be so much better, so much easier. God forbid it's easy, right? It's like, whoa, that can't be it. It can't be that easy. When you're using your gifts and you're doing the thing that you love and purpose, it is that easy. I guarantee you it is that easy. When you make decisions out of that aligned mentality, out of that aligned mindset, it is that easy. Okay, there's intentional growth that happens in alignment. You have the opportunity to even sit down and make a plan. I'm rooted in my gifts. I understand what the thing is that I bring to the table. I love to do. I love growth coaching. So how do I grow in this business? How do I grow my business rooted in my truth and not trying to react and look over to what Amy Porterfield is doing or what Rachel Hollis is doing and trying to be like them? I'm going to try to be like me, and I'm going to honor my gifts. I'm purpose driven. I'm not trying to copy someone or compare or cut myself down or burn myself out. I'm fulfilled even in the way that I'm using my gifts now. The beauty of this is when you position yourself for intentional growth, when you're in alignment, you get the levels at which you use your gifts amplify. We all kind of start like 101 level using our gifts. And then the more that we're in our giftings, the more it up levels. Because you use it, you become really good at trusting that flow from inside of you. You become really good at using your gifts, and it only gets better and better with the more that you put them to use. Okay? What do I have next? Flow. So there's an effort that's rooted in purpose, implemented with peace, and a plan for intentional result. One of the main, like the junk food of hustle, the thing that keeps us in that perpetual grind is that we're not purposeful or intentional with the result that we want to achieve. We're reacting and we're trying to take shortcuts, or we're totally frozen. So we're not rooted. We're just like out here kind of floundering, trying to make things happen, consumed by fear and insecurity and guilt, because we're not being successful in the ways that we want to be successful. So when there's alignment, when you honor yourself enough to say, "Ooh, I'm going to chill out and I'm going to try to figure out how to best align my gifts with the thing that I'm doing," the effort there is rooted in your purpose, and you implement it with peace, not with frenzy, not with fear, and with a plan for an intentional result. Not like, well, you know, I'm gonna do a bunch of this stuff and I'm just gonna hope. I'm gonna build an email, I'm gonna create a freebie, I'm gonna build an email list, I'm just gonna hope that that somehow saves me from when the world comes crashing down on social media. Like, I don't know why I'm doing this. We expense this energy where we're really not even intentional, like, what is the result? And does the result even line up with my business? Does that even fit what I'm trying to do? Is that going to position me for growth? Or am I just appeasing my fear by distracting myself and learning this new tactic so that I don't have to face the fact that, or even address that my business is not what it's meant to be? Am I distracting myself from the failure that I fear is very real here? As long as I'm busy doing all of these activities and learning all these new techniques, learning how to do these things that everybody else is doing to be successful, I don't have to confront the fact that I'm not making any money. I'm not making the money that I need to be making, or I'm not fulfilled. This business sucks. But hey, I'm going to distract myself. I'm going to learn how to do these things because that makes me feel like I'm doing something. That makes me feel like I'm an entrepreneur and I'm hustling and I'm getting things done. I don't have time to think about the fact that my business is actually like dead in the water. So how do you create a flow and find alignment? How does this happen? Take a deep breath. You take a deep breath and you prepare. Instead of reacting and letting your fear make decisions, letting your insecurity make decisions, you create a plan to make sure that the things that you prepare to step into are actually in honor of your gifts and in your purpose. You take action that is focused and is lined up with what you have planned, instead of reacting and taking action based out of worry, FOMO, someone else's influence that shouldn't even be influencing, something that is out of your alignment or out of your integrity. Do not distract yourself with action that has nothing to do with your success. Okay, so you make focused action. You take focused action. You also rest. So that when you rest, you make good decisions. You make decisions out of integrity, out of faith, and out of truth. When you are so busy, you make quick, hasty decisions that are easily rooted out of fear, scarcity, insecurity. When you rest, you can be strategic, you can analyze, you can say, does this actually benefit me? Is this conducive for the type of life and business that I want to have? Is this conducive for me? And also, how good does it feel to rest and let our bodies rest, regenerate, recruit, just for the sake of not being so continually on the fray, so continually burnt out. So not only does our decision-making benefit from rest, our bodies benefit from rest. Our families benefit from rest. Our kids see it's good to rest. And you practice patience. So instead of strongholding your result, instead of trying to let your ego ensure that you don't look like a fool, or that you don't come up short, or you don't let your worry drive your result, you then are patient You say, I'm going to consistently do this thing. And I'm going to be patient enough to let that seed take root. And I'm going to have that continual patience and faith that that root is going to sprout and it's going to come up above ground. How many times do we get so worried, we plant a seed, we water it, we watch it, nothing is happening. So we dig out the seed and we take it, put it in another pot, and we water it and we watch it. Maybe we fertilize it and then nothing is happening. And so we take it out of another pot and we plant it in a different soil because we think that a different situation is going to somehow make this seed sprout. When the entire time you needed to be patient. Let that seed have time to get all of that nourishment. Give it time. Success takes time. It does not happen in this bubble. It does not happen in a microwave. It does not happen by the more that we stare. And the more that you stare at this seed, it's not going to quickly force it to sprout. The same thing with our success. We need to be patient. If you put this expectation that it should yield result and the result should be damn good, you put yourself in this time crunch, in this frenzy, in this inevitable disappointment, when the entire time that expectation was inappropriate, and what you needed to actually do was give it more time and have patience. Don't create this anxiety for yourself to create a result that is actually impossible to create. Give it time. Be smart and say, I know this is, I have every single faith and confidence that this thing is going to work. I'm not going to stress and worry and grind and pull the seed out and restart all over again. I'm confident. God, patience is like it's bred in confidence because you're not in frenzy. You're not in desperation to see it sprout. You're trusting something beyond you to come through and to yield result for you. And this business, this creating success, this pushing yourself in audacious ways, this is all about trusting something beyond yourself. Because you're creating something that is far beyond your capability. Always. You're always pushing to something that is far beyond you. And you're saying, I trust, I can't see it. I have kind of like an inkling for it, but I'm trusting that this thing is going to work out somehow. But you have to have that patience so that in the interim, you're not beating yourself up and trying to remind yourself to not quit, or trying to talk yourself off the ledge, or bending yourself backwards to try to manipulate a result that isn't for you. So rest and patience, and be confident in that patience. Say, this is where I back off and I just let all the good work that I've put in, freaking like ruminate and work. And I'm going to trust that God's coming in and he's doing things that I don't even understand. And that's amazing. Every single one of us has God working in our peripheral, working in front of us and behind us and on the side of us. You don't need to be in all these places all at once. I mean, like, talk about outsourcing. There are things that you should be outsourcing to God that you are trying to do, and you're human and you cannot. So back off and have some patience. And being rooted in truth. You can't create flow and you can't be in alignment if you are rooted in a place of lie. If you're operating from the assumption that you are not good, your gifts suck, you're never going to be successful. Where are your feet planted? What are you rooted in? Are you constantly changing your mind, changing your business, and moving yourself to root in something that is temporary? Or are you rooting yourself in the truth of what your gifts are and what you love to do and what your purpose is? Are you giving that enough time to really like bear down? One of the reasons why I named Ginger Root, one, because I'm a ginger, I'm feisty, so I feel like it comes out in coaching all the time. But in yoga, when you stand at the top of your mat, when you begin practice, or at least whenever I taught yoga, I taught practice, you started out at the top of your mat standing. And in holy yoga, this term is used where you root through your feet and you rise through your crown. And as you root in your feet, that means that every single toe really touches the mat. And you make intentional contact with the ground, and you align your hips You tuck your pelvis and you pull your shoulders back, and your head rises up. And the founder, Brooke Boone, I don't know if she still teaches it this way, but she said, imagine that there's a string that is pulling your head up. When you're rooted in this way, you're in a position of power. You're in a position of stability. You're in a position of openness because your shoulders are back and your heart is exposed. And I just so loved this visual of women being rooted. Their feet are strong. You're not standing on one foot. You're not trying to grip the ground. You're not in a tense position. You're in this confident place where your toes and the heel and the pad of your foot are all touching your mat. And your knees are not buckled, but instead they're soft, but strong. And in my head, I was visualizing all of these women feeling so rooted in their truth, in the fact that they are so gifted and they are so worthy and they're being called up to do amazing and big things. And God has a crown on every single one of their heads. And if they stood strong, they would be utilized for massive potential for their benefit, for the people around them, for God's benefit. It was a position of such integrity and such peace and such power. And that's what I wish that you, every single time, if you find yourself in this hustle, think of, how does my body look right now? Am I in a position of power? Alignment, I want you to visualize yourself with your feet rooted on the ground in truth, in who you really are and how God sees you and how God created you. You were not created to be fearful, meek, questioning yourself, doubting your ability, beating yourself down, guilt-ridden. You were not created for those things. Abandon those things. Root in the truth of who you are. You are so powerful, and you have something that the other woman next to you does not have, and that is badass. Utilize it. Stop looking left and right for what's working for everybody else. Holy cow, I've gone way over time. So I'm going to end it here. There was one last thing. Align your gifts with what you love to do, and you will not lose your damn mind while reaching audacious success. Alignment to me is the only way to achieve audacious success. Hustle to me is a way to keep you small, fearful, and broke. If you want audacious success, you cannot do it by manipulating and grinding out for result. You have to trust. You have to be in complete flow with your gifts and what you love to do, and then in audacious faith. I'm so sorry that I can still stay on if you guys want to still have hot seat coaching. I apologize for going over, but if anyone is able to stay on and want some insight or just to work some things out, I am here for you. But if you need to go, I completely honor that. Let me stop this share and stop the recording.